late meaning early October, the holidays, and he asked where I was going to spend them, and I said at a .rel. That's 3 words. In North Hollywood, because that had been our home synagogue for 11 years. And he said, "Well, why don't you come to PJC?" And I did. I had been there originally in April of 1990 to cover a funeral. Became attracted, but let it drop. And then in early October, I went for the holidays and fell in love immediately, and never left until 1999, when work had become thin. I moved across country to Baltimore to become the managing editor of a short-lived urban daily, and returned here 6 months later. And a year and a half after that, I met the girl who would become my wife. So met her through a rabbi, Stephen Jacobs, Stephen with a V, with whom I had often disagreed.
He's a liberal reform rabbi,
yes,
right?
Sir. He is more liberal than almost anybody I know, but some of my best friends are reform rabbis. But because I spent 15 years covering the Jewish community and loved every moment of it. That was the highlight of my life, my working life, until I came to Culver City, and 7 years ago this month started my own newspaper. And I've been online for 5 years, and I am incredibly happy. It would be impossible to be more fulfilled than I am.
When you read the Torah, does it strike you as a unitary work or as a composite work of many different strands woven together over centuries?
Now that you have added the last part, it strikes me as a unitary work, though I have learned over the years to understand it. Understand it. There's a gross overstatement. To attempt to comprehend it a strand at a time, a parsha at a time. But I am farther from being a Torah scholar than anyone I know. So let's be clear about that. But generally speaking, absolutely a unitary work.
Do you turn off your journalistic skepticism when you study Torah, or do you approach it as you would any other literary work?
I turn off my skepticism. I never have quite thought of it that way, but I have no doubt that everything we are told either happened or has been related to us for a specific, deep, and, for my purposes, frequently unknowable reason.
Why do you have this belief?
Because I'm a dreamer and an optimist. and not a cold-eyed skeptic unless we're talking politics. And there my skepticism blooms with every syllable. But when it comes to Yiddishkeit, that is the unbudgeable pillar of my life. Not anything on the planet could change or negatively affect that. It has seen me through what have felt to me like the worst of times. And surely other people have gone through much more.
Journalism and Orthodox Judaism go together easily or with great difficulty?
With periodic difficulty. I used to hear, when I was at PJC, I used to hear criticism of pieces that I had written. Yeah, they clash. But there are times when I don't write for approval. I write according to my values. Now I've been away from Jewish journalism for 10 years, but during the years that I was in that field, I would be periodically criticized for treading too softly, too favorably, too supportively with reform rabbis or people who were deemed otherwise undesirable. And I judged them on their reactions to me. If it was a personalized piece, if it was an op-ed kind of piece, I often was supportive because I like many people. Today I wrote a story on a woman named Dolores Huerta, Huerta. She, with Cesar Chavez, was a co-founder of the United Farm Workers almost 50 years ago. I was writing a story at which about a luncheon where she was the keynote speaker. My job as a reporter is very different from my responsibilities as a commentator. And when I have bragged much of my life that people never knew what I believed because it always was masked by objective reporting, of which I am proud, and I believe I report objectively today in news columns. When it comes to commentary, I'm extremely passionate, emotional, and I write my convictions. I do not write for anyone's approval. And I'm sure it has cost me friends. And if it has, well, sorry. But this is what I don't write for. I don't write to be provocative. I write, as I say, out of belief, out of very firm, clear, specific belief. And I have a strong sense of fairness. Politically, I am passionately right of center, but I have about 11 or 12 regular essayists, and most of them are left of center. And the reason is to give readers choices. This is not a right-wing rag. This is a provocative, mature, responsible newspaper from which you can draw a variety of opinions.